like the fact that you drove it back to the culture. Like, what's your culture? What are you going to be intentional about? Like,
that's the big word too, is intentional, because you're right.
You intentionally at reachAbility has intentionally set up, psychological safety, to be sort of one of the top, like from the moment people walk in the door, like, do they want to step further into that door? We've had some guests on that talk about the fact that from an accessibility point of view, and accessibility could be for mental health, physical, any reason, that often they get right to the place. And it's that, was it 15 feet out? That all of a sudden they realize, I can't be here.
Right? Interesting.
I can get to the building, I can get in the building, and then everything in the building is not made for me.
Right. Yeah. Right. So, so if you take that thought process for, what reachAbility has done is that, the moment the door opens, it's a welcoming.
It totally is. I completely felt that when I walked in here.
Right, and
so doing something right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So, but that was intentional.
Right.
That was intentional. It didn't happen by happenstance. It was intentional, and I think that's, for our listeners, that's a really good, point. Is that these things have to be intentional. It's when they're not intentional, when there's no real parameters, there's no real discussion, it hasn't become part of the workplace culture, that then everybody starts bringing their own opinion, own worldview,
right?
And then they start clashing.
Right. And when we talk about worldviews, we don't talk about everybody having the same worldview.
Right.
We're really talking about how do we bring in the multiplicity of worldviews.
Absolutely.
So that we can have a much broader experience. And when we talk about culture, many people will say that culture is intangible. And I would say, yeah, and it's not that intangible, because it's like what you just said. I love this.
Right.
I can get to the building. I might even be able to get to the door. And then I'm like, because it's in the field, and there's research that tells us that too, that our workplaces it's not the workplaces, the people in it emitting these electromagnetic fields, which communicate our emotional state. And if you've got a whole bunch of people communicating an emotional state that is on edge or not healthy, we all feel it.
I hate to use the term the vibe, but you can 1,000% feel the vibe when you walk into a workplace and everyone is on edge. No one is comfortable saying that they used AI to get something done today. No one is comfortable saying that they spent 10 minutes in the lunchroom chatting, even though it made them feel better about their entire day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, there is the HeartMath Institute in the U.S. I can't remember where, but they actually research all of this. So the
HeartMath Institute.
HeartMath,
I will be looking this up. That is fascinating.
It's a real thing.
Okay.
And they'll measure the electromagnetic field around each of us 6 to 8 or 12 feet out. And so we right now sitting in this room doing this podcast, we're in each other's electromagnetic field.
Explains the cheerful vibes, by the way.
Exactly.
And we're influencing each other, consciously or unconsciously, in that way. And the same, we always say, you walk into a room and you can cut the tension with a knife. It's because that's the vibe that is in the room, and it's a real, tangible, measurable thing.
Now, I've got to ask, because unfortunately we have to wrap this up, despite the fact I'm kind of into sitting here for another 2 hours talking about this. If you walked into a workplace, and now you very kindly, when you walked into this workplace, you said many lovely things, which you've since repeated on the podcast. So thank you extra for that too. But if you walk into a workplace and you get that sense that there's tension, that there's discomfort, that there's a lot of maybe discordance in the worldviews present, what are some of the basic first steps you would recommend for the leadership in that organization to take to start to correct that?
So you've kind of hit on the biggest challenge of all, which is...
With 5 minutes left, why not?
Well, there are lots of organizations that could use this work, but if they're not open to it, then it's a non-starter.
Fair, yeah.
So there's that, but it all starts with the leadership. in an organization. So if you've got leaders who are committed to being intentional about their workplace culture, then they can begin with themselves, with their leadership team, and then think about what are the engagement strategies that they want to use throughout the organization to spread the intentionality of the workplace culture that they want to have in the organization. But if they're not demonstrating it, if they're not role modeling it, then they're going to get what they role model, because what we do speaks so much louder than what we say.
Tova, our CEO here, is a big fan of saying the fish stinks from the head, which is her somewhat pithy way of saying that in few words. Yes, but it's exactly that, is that it's got to come from the top down. It has to be actively modeled every day, openly. Yeah.
Right. And it is possible, but it will take, especially if there are challenges in the workplace, it'll take some time because people won't believe it right away.